iron clad. What's up guys, Dan here, Coalcracker Bushcraft, coming to you from our knife shop today. Rainy out, so I thought I'd get some stuff done here also. Hammer out this video about a thing that you can do in order to protect your handles on your wooden tools, and then you can also use this to temporarily fix handles if you see something going wrong with them. Alright, so wood being a natural material over time, okay, accidents can happen. You can crack handles or overstrike on handles, or maybe a check just develops in the handle because the wood gets a little drier, the weather got to it, whatever it may be. So you have to know what to do when those things happen. Can you keep using your handles? Should you repair it? Can you temporarily fix it? All of those things. Now, yes, I know people are going to say, well, I only use polymer handles. Those things never break. Great. Most bushcrafters, though, don't. Most of us like wooden handles. We like the traditional look and feel of them, and that's fine, right? So if you have this technique in your back pocket, it's just going to help you along a little bit more. So I named those things that can happen. So a check, just basically a small little crack starting to develop in the wood, okay? So I have an old shovel here, and it's going to be hard to see on camera, but they're starting to get some checks down in this section, which in this case, very, very small, but it was the best I can do here just on the fly. So just small little cracks developing, and you can tell with this handle, okay, it's dry, it hasn't really been linseed oil that much. This was probably used for concrete and stuff in the past, so the wood's just like, yeah, I'm about done with you, I'm gonna start cracking. So in issues like that, the shovel's still fine, but if we wanna stop that from happening more or protect that so it doesn't crack out on the job, we can do this. Overstrike is when we're using our axe or hammer, okay, and the item that we're trying to hit, if it's my fist, we literally overstrike it, and what happens is we don't get the meat of the axe bit into it, we go too much, and then the wood that we're chopping hits this section and it blows this section apart, okay? So that's just negligence on your end, but listen, sometimes this stuff happens, right? I get it. And in worst case, you're swinging your axe, maybe you lend it to somebody else. Don't ever do that. Don't give your tools to anybody else, right? But if you do and it messes up, look at this. This is my buddy's axe. Oh, just monster crack here. This handle is definitely done, but it's gonna work great for this tutorial. So all of those things, okay, can happen to your tools. So what you're gonna do if that happens is, number one, you're gonna make an assessment. What I mean by that is, in this case, all right, this handle, I don't want to keep messing with it because I don't want it to fall apart before I do the little technique here, okay? This handle's way too far to try to actually fix this handle, all right? So in most cases, you're going to want to remove this handle, put a new handle on, and be good. And I say most cases because if you're in the field, okay, you can temporarily put this back together. I'm going to show you that in a second with this technique, all right? But if you have small checks, small cracks, or let's just say it's a small shovel and you see like the wood's starting to splinter up a little bit, do this, it'll fix it all. Alright, so what you're going to need is three things. I got myself some fresh super glue. I think the Gorilla brand glue for this works best by far. I get the gel style. That way it's not all runny and it's still a little bit messy, but it's not really bad. And then you're going to get thicker bank line. So this is just nylon line. You can use nylon line, right? You don't want to use like a cotton line or anything like that. Use something synthetic for this. And then optional, but very nice to have, is just a small little brush to help paint everything on. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Step one is we're going to identify, again, this crack is a monster on this one. So we're gonna identify above and below where the actual check or crack, or if you're doing it on the top of your axe, okay? That's pretty self-explanatory, we're gonna do that. We wanna go above and below the area that's needed. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna add a straight lash. So very simple, easy to put on here, okay? We're just gonna take our line and we're gonna wrap it around the tool handle just like this, okay? Now take your time when you do this. It is very important, okay, when you do this, that you don't have big gaps like this, all right, in your cordage. Your cordage needs to be nice and tight and lined up like that, okay? So I'm gonna wrap this one, and just literally, you gotta just take your time with this, all right? Sometimes the contour to handle will throw little cracks and stuff in, but you gotta try your best to press them things back together. So let me start with this. I'll wrap it and then show you where we're at. All right, so look at this, nice and tightly wrapped. As I spin this, you're gonna see we don't have any really big gaps in between the line. Looks super professional, okay? Really, really nice right there. Okay, at this point now, we're gonna trim off these two edges. And now what we essentially have done is tightened up that handle. So even this axe, which was a hot mess, you could see that the handle's not splitting out. So in like the absolute worst scenario, right? Survival scenario, where you're like backcountry, day one, this thing breaks, you still gotta be super careful. I don't wanna say that this is like 100% good to go, but I would add this type of wrapping like from here to like down here, and it will at least get you through. Just be careful, no really, really, really heavy chopping or anything, okay? So that would be your field expedient. But in my case, I'm at the shop and I'm trying to, we're gonna pretend this crack was a lot smaller, or just like the wood was coming up a little bit. What do? Well, we're gonna glue this now. All right guys, what we're gonna do now, we take our super glue, I take the lid off, and then we're just gonna, this is what's nice about the gel. I'm gonna get gel out and I'm going to paint this over my twine. All right, getting really nice, good coverage with this, and we want to go all the way around. So I'm going to rotate this here in a second once I get this whole side painted. All right. So I'm just painting this on. If there's any gaps that you notice in between your twine as you do this, go ahead and fill those in with extra glue. Just like that. Rotate. And now we're gonna just give that 24 hours to dry, because that's the total curing time for this specific glue. Now, once that glue dries in conjunction with that bank line, that thing literally becomes ironclad. It is like adding a layer of metal outside of the wood. I mean, it is a tremendously strong wrap that you're gonna be putting on there. Now, this is not the axe. I gotta give that time to dry, of course, like I said, 24 hours. But this is a splitting axe that I have, that I use all the time. And with splitting axes in malls, you're doing a lot, of course, splitting, right? So you have a very high chance of making a mistake, especially when you start getting tired towards the end of the day, that you're gonna have some type of overstrike happen, all right? Again, that's where you're hitting the front of this. So they sell all types of things online, leather and cloth. That does not protect the wood. That is show, and I usually laugh because the people who put them on already messed up the front of their axes. So if you wanna make it iron, you're gonna do this up near the top, okay? So this axe, brand new, I did this right away. So any damage I get, and you can see there's a little bit here that's a little bit dirty and stuff, overstrike will bust up this outside before it gets down into the wood. So this is a great technique for your overstrike collar if you need to put one on yourself, or to fix up any of those splits or checks or cracks on the tools themselves. All right, so if you like this video, give it a try. I'm telling you, this is a great tool, another tool for the toolbox, but I also want you to hit like and subscribe down below. Also hit that notification bell so you know when I'm putting out cool videos with these hot tips. And then check us out at coalcrackerbushcraft.com for our classes, our merchandises, and our blog. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and until the next video, stay in the shop or stay in the woods. Either one, cool.